Hi guys, I'm Eileen. If you're new here, this channel is all about luxury minimalism, responsible spending, and intentional living. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. I really can't believe I've reached 30,000 subscribers. So to celebrate this very special milestone, I want to do a more personal video to talk about why I love my boring life. In my 20s, I always wanted to do cool things and have a full social calendar because I thought that's how you're meant to live your best life. At least that's what society and advertisement try to tell us. But now I really enjoy a simpler life and the many ordinary things. This is something I came to realize last year because of the pandemic. During the 2 months when I got to stay home, I realized I wasn't craving for a lot of the social activities, apart from traveling home to see my family in Malaysia. Even now, I don't really miss going to parties, movies, concerts, or going out, and to be honest, even in-store shopping. I feel like I've always liked a simpler life, but I just never allowed myself to be that way because I didn't want to be labeled as boring or unexciting. As a young girl, I thought an exciting life was one where you get to do a lot of happening things, which usually means being surrounded by people, music, and beautiful things. Whereas now, a lot of the activities I enjoy are free and supposedly boring. For example, I really like taking a walk, going to the park, cycling, reading, and journaling. Some of my co-workers have said I'm such a boring person because every time they ask me about what I'm doing on the weekend, my answer is never very exciting. In a way, I'm now living what I myself would call a boring life years ago. In fact, one of my dreams for the future is to move to a very quiet place where I get to be closer to nature and fresh air. If you really struggle to find contentment in a seemingly ordinary life, I would suggest you to watch some documentaries about natural disasters and movies about end of the world because they are really a great reminder that a simple life is not a given. It is a blessing and should never be taken for granted. When you find enjoyment from the simplest things in life, such as clean water, hot shower, internet, coffee, and muffins, you will live every day with so much more positive energy. As I embrace a simpler way of living, I notice my threshold for happiness has become lower. A good day for me can be as simple as reading a good book with a cup of coffee. In fact, the things that used to be a novelty for me are not as shiny anymore. I can now enjoy a glass of champagne without it being opened or served by a waiter. I can also enjoy a cup of coffee even when it's not Starbucks. I have no problem downsizing my luxury collection, even though some of the pieces I sold are considered classic and timeless. I now also celebrate special occasions with no expectation of receiving a very expensive present. Now, this might all sound like a very boring routine to some people, but this kind of joy is something I didn't feel, especially when I was supposedly living the more exciting life and when I was constantly buying and accumulating things. Now, this is not to say you should never treat yourself once in a while because the truth is, I still like nice things, but I've learned to enjoy the nice things I already own rather than focusing on those I don't yet have. After all, luxury is only luxury if you don't make it a routine. Next, I want to touch on social media, especially Instagram, because I think it's such a visual platform. This is a place where everything looks so perfect, curated, and sometimes even fabricated. I have an Instagram account myself. I'm not very active on it, but I can tell you, on average, my husband has to take about 10 pictures or more before I can find one that I'm happy with to post on Instagram. So I really hope no one will think their life is boring just because it doesn't look like what they see on Instagram. You really don't have to compare yourself to someone you've not even met in person before, whether if it's the car you drive, the dress you wear, the handbag you carry, or the life you live. Everyone has their own struggles and problems, but they just choose not to share them in public. I still use Instagram myself, but I'm now very conscious about the kind of content I expose myself to because I don't want it to influence me in such a way that I desperately want to live somebody else's life rather than the one I truly enjoy. Next, let's talk about YouTube. First of all, I really do have the best audience because you guys are always so supportive. So overall, we have a very lovely community here with very like-minded people. However, when you put yourself out there on the internet, opinions will follow. For example, I've come across several messages saying it can be a bit boring to talk about luxury minimalism and mindful spending tips, so some people suggested for me to include some unboxing videos and luxury hauls just to make my content more exciting. Now, if this was me 10 years ago, I would actually feel the pressure to buy something just to showcase to my audience. It's quite similar to how peer pressure made me feel like I had to go to certain social events because otherwise I would be the boring one or the odd one out. Fortunately though, I've learned to respect my own wishes more. Don't get me wrong, I still really believe in constructive criticism, but when it comes to content creation, I just want to stay true to myself, and I believe that if my audience find value in my videos, they will stay. Some people might see luxury minimalism and intentional living as a form of deprivation. The argument is you only live once, so you might as well live large because tomorrow might never come. Honestly though, I don't feel like I'm delaying my happiness or sacrificing anything by being intentional and financially savvy. This might sound strange, but I actually get a sense of satisfaction from wanting to own less. In the past, I used to really admire people with a huge collection of designer handbags and expensive jewelry pieces. But now I feel relieved that I don't have so much to accommodate, insure, and look after. More importantly, just knowing I don't have to buy my happiness is such a wonderful feeling. Another comment I've seen a few times is to do with the way I speak. Some people say I can sound quite boring because I don't have a very upbeat tone, and I can also sound quite monotonous and flat. So I gave it some thought because I really wanted to keep my audience engaged. But in the end, I thought if I force myself to sound more dramatic or funny, I'll just look very unnatural, and I don't think you guys will like it either. So I gathered I should just graciously accept the way I am and the way I speak. If there's one thing I've learned in the last 10 years, it is that you can never please absolutely everyone, no matter how hard you try. In fact, it doesn't matter if you accept your true self or pretend to be someone you're not. Not everyone will like you anyway, so you might as well save yourself the trouble and just be yourself. Now, I just want to point out that even though I enjoy a simpler life, I'm not saying you have to live a life like mine, because we don't all have to like the same things. Otherwise, the world would be a very boring place. But I do suggest to take a moment to think about what truly makes you happy and then embrace it unapologetically, even when it makes no sense to everyone else. Before I end my video, I just want to say a huge thank you again for creating such a great community here. I still remember how scary it was to create a channel and put myself out there, but now I'm so happy to have you guys here with me. Sometimes it does get a bit chaotic to split myself between being a mother, working a day job, and running a channel, but you guys always cheer me on, so thank you. So I guess that's it from me. I really hope you liked the video, and I will see you in my next one. Have a nice day.